Hello and welcome back to EVE Online. In our last episode, we jumped feet first right into the world of PvP and went exploring in low-sec. But today I'd like to take a step back. We're going to go back to some basics, and I'm going to introduce you to the world of missions. So what are missions? Well, missions are missions. They are tasks that are given to you by agents. Agents are non-player characters who work for the various non-player character corporations or the empires, and, well, they want you to do things. They want you to go fight someone, or maybe build something, or deliver something from one place to another, or even go mine some asteroids. Regardless of what it is they want you to do, the rewards are usually money. Sometimes you can get items, and in all cases you get an increase in standing with the various corporations and empires. So missions are definitely worth doing, especially for the new player. They're a good way to make money quick, so you can build those better ships. Alright, to do missions, look here on the right side of the screen. This is the normal interface when you're in a station. And here you can see where it says Agents. If you click on that, you'll see if there are any agents in your station, and right now there aren't any. So let's go ahead and click on the Agent Finder. Now it's going to go ahead and it's going to load up the different agents in our area based on any number of criteria we want to select here. And let me go ahead and switch this to any type of agent. Doesn't matter what faction, what corporation, what type, any region, but we're going to hopefully get ones that are close by to us. This will take a moment to load here. As you can see, there are 5 different levels of agents. Level 1 is obviously going to be the easiest. You can usually do those missions using just a frigate. Sometimes you might need a slightly stronger ship like a destroyer. Your level 2 missions, it starts getting a little harder. By the time you're in level 3 missions, you're going to want to be moving up to cruisers or even battleships. And once you start getting into the even higher missions like level 5, well, you might want to bring some friends along for those, because those are going to usually require a team of players to defeat. Okay, well here we go. Here's a bunch of agents available who are willing to give us missions. This first person here is in a level 1 security mission, and they're only 1 jump away from us. So let's go check out what that is, see if we want to do this mission. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click on the location that the person's in. I'm going to set a destination, and well, we'll go ahead and head out. Now, as you'll remember from our previous episode, once we have a destination set, we go ahead and click on the yellow Stargate and just click jump. It'll take us, it'll warp us to within 0 of the Stargate, and we'll go right through it. While we're heading for the station, and before I hit warp, let's take a moment and look at the different types of agents that there are, the different types of missions you can do. As you can see, there's a pretty big list here under agent type. Career missions are going to give you a wide variety of tasks that really introduce you into a particular career in the game. For example, business. That's going to deal with everything from trading items, buying and selling and delivering, everything that's needed to make money on the business side of things. Industry is going to deal with the manufacture of items, crafting them from blueprints, manufacturing your own blueprints, and the construction of items from raw materials. Military, well, that's going to deal mainly with combat, and you're going to learn how to fight and take on enemies. Exploration, again, these are all pretty self-explanatory, but any type of task that you'd like to learn about in the EVE Online universe, by doing these career missions and going through them in order, you should get a pretty good grasp of how to do these different things in the game. You're not limited to just those types of missions, though. As you can see, distribution, mining, research and development, security, which we're about to go do now, and even storyline missions are all available to you if you select them here. The storyline missions are a little bit different than the other types of missions. They're a series of missions that you will go through. They will happen in order, and they will teach you more about the lore of the world that EVE Online takes place in, more about the galaxy. There usually will be a series of missions with an increasing challenge as you go to the end of them. They'll have a definitive beginning, middle, and end, basically telling a story as you help some corporation, and the rewards are usually worth it. Going through a storyline mission, or the series of storyline missions, is usually well worth the effort. One of the early storyline missions that's often done by a lot of newer players is the Sisters of Eve storyline mission. The early missions in that sequence are pretty easy. By the end, though, you are probably going to want to have at least one friend help you with some of the last few missions. So, here we are in the station. If you look here on the right again, here's all the agents. 2 of them are available to us right now. 3 of them aren't. Why is that? Well, our standing probably isn't high enough with these agents. We basically haven't proven ourselves. How do we prove ourselves? Well, we do more missions. The more missions you do, the more your standings will increase with whatever faction you're doing the missions for. And sometimes, depending on the types of missions, your standings might actually decrease with other factions who are opposed to them. So it can sometimes be a little bit of a balancing act if you don't want to fall too far below in any one faction. But we're going to go ahead and accept the mission from this character here, a level 1 security mission. We're going to click here to start our conversation. Here's a mission called Lost Records. A courier ship, Swiftshire, has just had a warp drive mishap, and it was forced to jettison its cargo lest it be damaged or lost if the core blew. They're crawling back to their home station as we speak. However, the cargo they had to ditch was a set of important Federation court records. We don't have backups available, so those records are irreplaceable, and they can't get another courier out there until tomorrow sometime. Bloody couriers can't get good help these days. Basically, they need us to head out there, find those records, and we get a reward for it. So, here on the right side is basically the details of our mission. We're eventually going to acquire the goods. That's this Federation Court Logs item, and we're going to be dropping it off here at this station. The station we actually are currently in. We're going to locate the records, place them in our cargo hold, bring them back here. Here's the location where we're going to find the records. This site contains a special ship restriction, so we're going to click on that. This will let us know that we can only be in a frigate, cruiser, destroyer, or corvette. Well, luckily we're flying a frigate, so we don't have anything to worry about. Now, if we complete the mission, we're going to be given 40,000 ISK and 53 loyalty points. Loyalty points can be spent later in a special loyalty point store for special items. Now, almost every mission also has a bonus reward. If you complete the mission within a certain time frame, you get an additional reward. In this case, if we complete it in 2 hours and 10 minutes, we will get 48,000 ISK. And then there's some hints that will tell us about if we need help completing the mission, it'll tell us what to do. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that, so we're just going to go ahead and accept the mission. Now, if you decline missions, if you go ahead and if you click on it and then decline it, you could be reducing your standing if you do that too often with a particular agent. So you always want to think twice before actually accepting, before actually even clicking on to start the conversation. All right, the mission expires. It gives us an expiration date, and now our clock is ticking. We have 2 hours and 9 minutes to complete the mission, or we don't get our special extra reward. So, before we go do this mission, it's more than likely going to involve some combat. I'm going to show you our ship. We're back in the trusty Velator. Remember I told you it was kind of useless? Well, we're back in it because I want to start over here. In our last episode, as you may remember, I'd gotten some extra money by sending it from another character. We bought a ship that we weren't quite ready for. But this is the ship that we should be in legitimately, the Velator, with only the fittings that I have currently right now. I also went ahead and gave back all of the extra money that I had given myself so that we're starting off where I should be based on everything we've done so far. So, I've gone ahead and I still have this civilian Gatling railgun. We're not going to need to worry about the mining module. We're not going to be using that in this mission. I have the civilian shield booster. I did go ahead and get myself a better afterburner that I picked up along the way. But I also have a civilian damage control unit and a civilian armor repair. So, let's head out and hopefully we won't have to use those. But if we do, I'll show you how we do that. Now that we've accepted a mission here on the left side, you can see where it says Agent Missions. If I go ahead and expand this, it gives us our objective. This is where we're eventually going to be ending our mission. But here's what we're doing. We're having an encounter in dead space. Let's go ahead and warp to this location.
Warp drive active.
When you accept a mission, it basically creates the mission somewhere in space. It basically creates an instance, a little room, quote, room for your mission to take place in. That room is not directly accessible. You can't directly warp to it. normally. It's not something that just appears in the solar system like a planet or a stargate. So to access that quote room, that area of space where the mission is, the game places what's called an acceleration gate for you. And here it is. There's our acceleration gate. It's actually 36 kilometers away. Usually this game will put us closer to the acceleration gate. I'm not sure why it placed us so far off from it. Either way, we'll go ahead and activate our afterburner to get there quicker. Now the acceleration gate is basically the doorway into your mission. We're not really fully in the mission, even though we've started the mission and our timer is already going. Right now we're kind of at the entrance to it. There's no enemies here yet. Once we activate this acceleration gate, well, we're in the mission for real. I think we're close enough. Let's go ahead here and click Activate Gate.
Warp drive active.
Here we go. Now when we land on grid, there may be enemies, or there may not. It's important to immediately check around and see what's there. The acceleration gate's going to put us into a quick little warp into our location, and here we are. We're arriving at a location, and I can see already 6 enemies. Now, they're still about 30 kilometers off from us, so we can take a moment to look around. 4 of them are up top here. And the others are... Let's see where the others are located. The others are down here in this direction, to the right. However, these 4 have already targeted us. As you can see, the yellow box around us, they've yellow boxed us. So let's go ahead and start flying towards them. I'm going to go ahead and start activating the target. I'm going to start targeting these 4 enemies. And now we're red boxed. That means they are attacking us overtly. Now we can only shoot at 1 enemy at a time right now because we only have 1 gun. I can also only target 3 at a time. This will be our active target. I'm going to go ahead and start flying towards him. And I'm going to start activating my gun because we seem to be getting close enough. Now notice, we're taking shield damage pretty quickly. Let's activate our shield booster to see if that helps at all. Help mitigate the damage we're taking. As you can see, we're now below 25% shield. Did you hear that warning sign? That warning tone? That's letting us know. We are now losing armor. Let's activate our armor repair as well. Now I'm doing damage to this enemy. The problem is there is 4 of them attacking me at once, and that's a little bit more than my ship can handle, as you can see. So I need to be keeping a close eye on these hit points, and if things start getting a little too hard, I need to be ready to move away. Perhaps flee. As it is now, that enemy's about to die, though. He's into structure. His shields are gone, his armor's gone, and he's down in his hull, in his structure. Now, he got some armor back, as you can notice. He likely also has an armor repair just like we do. But that's quickly going down, and we'll be taking more of his hull away in just a moment. Now, if you look at our hit points, we're holding steady now. Our shield keeps going up and down, but that armor repair is keeping us in the fight. The combination of the shield booster and the armor repair are keeping us from losing any more health than we already did. Well, he's dead. Let's move on to the next guy. Let's go ahead and align towards him, so we're moving towards him. And let's activate our guns. Now our guns have if you mouse over your guns, you can see that they have an effective range. Ours really doesn't do any damage beyond about 7,300 meters. And it's even better, you really want to be within 5,000. So let's activate them now that we're within about 7,000. We're not going to do much damage until we get closer. Now, one of the ways the game calculates your damage has to do with the direction you're flying. If an enemy's flying sideways to you, in a transverse direction, what they might call it, or if they're flying directly at you, or seemingly standing still. All these things affect damage in different ways, and we'll probably get into all that in a later episode. That requires a little bit more time to really talk about. Suffice to say, for right now, I'm just flying directly for the guy and shooting him. There are other strategies, though, you can use, and you're going to want to alter your strategy depending on the kinds of guns you're using and the types of enemies you're facing. He's almost dead. Now, as he dies, I'm going to start flying towards this next enemy. Now, I'm going to continue firing at him, though. As you can see, he's still my active target. Oh, sorry, actually, yeah. If you notice here underneath him, my gun is still on him. And now he's dead. Now, your active target, the one that any actions you take are going to affect, as you can see the little arrows rotating around this guy, that means anything I do now, if I activate my guns or any other modules, they're going to be targeting him. Now that I've activated my gun, see the little gun icon underneath him? It's letting me know that, well, my guns are attacking him. Let's go ahead and target this other guy now that I have room for him up here. Now I could make him my active target, or I could make him the one I'm focusing on, and I could go ahead and start perhaps orbiting him. I'm still going to shoot him until I explicitly turn off my guns and then turn them back on while clicked on him. But if I have more than one gun, as you can see, I could click on him, activate one gun, click on the next guy, activate the next gun. There are different ways you can do, to manage multiple targets at one time. As you saw, unfortunately, my ship can only target three enemies at a time, and that can be changed based on your targeting skill and other factors. Now, we've flown a little too far away from this Corelli agent, so let's start shooting this other one. I'm going to turn off my guns by clicking on them again, and then I'm going to reactivate them on this guy. As you can see, this Corelli agent is 10 kilometers out. Remember, that's past the fall-off range of our guns. You always want to keep an eye on the range of your enemies. And that's one way that, if you remember in the last episode I mentioned stasis webifiers, the module that can slow down an enemy ship, or if an enemy has it, can slow down your ship. That's one of the great uses for a stasis webifier. If you can slow down an enemy and keep him at a distance, and say you have guns that work really great at long range, but they have guns that only work at low range like mine. You have to be within 5,000 meters to use. But say you have guns that work from 20,000 meters. Well, you can web the enemy, keep him going slow, and just orbit him at a far distance. Keep him far away and just slowly ping him and do damage, and he can never hit you. And he could probably never escape because he just can't get fast enough to get away from you. Well, slowly but surely this Corelli agent is dying. As you can see, his armor went back up, so these guys definitely have armor repairs on them. As for us, well, we're holding our own. Our Velator isn't the strongest ship, so, we're still hovering around this almost lost all our shields level. Then it slowly bites into our armor, and then we get the armor back and our shields come back. One thing you should be aware of, shields come back on their own over time. They do slowly regenerate, and there are different skills that can make them regenerate faster. In my case, this shield booster actually makes it come back a little bit even faster than it would normally. Okay, that Corelli agent's dead. Let's close with this last one. Armor, on the other hand, unlike shields, does not regenerate on its own, and you need to have an item like an armor repair to get your armor back. And as for your hull, again, hull does not come back on its own. Structure, it does not come back on its own. So it's best to lose shields and, I'm misspeaking there. There is no one best way to do it. There are different strategies for defending your ship. Some people will focus on only protecting their shields. They call it shield tanking. Other people will have a bunch of different modules to strengthen their armor and to repair their armor. It's usually best to pick one and focus on that. You either want a shield tank or armor tank. It usually is less efficient to try to spread it out like I'm doing here, where I'm shield boosting and armor repairing at the same time. It works for level 1 missions in a Velator when you're just starting out. But when you get into some more advanced stuff, you're going to want to focus on one thing. You're going to want to either armor tank or shield tank. Now, those aren't the only types of tanking, but those are the simplest. Alright, there's 2 enemies left. Let's start flying towards them. Now, I'm too far away to target. So let's give ourselves 1 boost of speed by activating and then quickly deactivating our afterburner. Okay, we can target him, and we can target the other guy as well. They haven't yellow boxed us yet. They haven't started to engage us. They haven't targeted us in return. Let's orbit the first enemy. And we'll go ahead and activate our guns in just a moment when we get a little bit closer. Now, if you notice, this armor repair here and this shield booster are still going. Now we're yellow box. They're now targeting us. Let's activate our guns. These are still going, as are our guns. Now, if you look down here at our capacitor, it's down to 82%, 83, 8. It's jumping back and forth right around the low 80s. So that's pretty good. Our capacitor is holding steady. Even though we are using all these modules at the same time, our capacitor is staying pretty steady. However, I notice we are now losing armor fast. We're getting hit by 2 very strong guys right now. Let's see if fighting this soldier will do any better than fighting this trooper. If we can do damage to him faster. In fact, we're about to lose all of our armor and we're in structure. I double-clicked out in space and I activated my afterburner to try to put some distance between ourselves and these enemies. We're getting mostly out of range of them. They aren't really doing any damage. I'm going to turn off my guns for just a moment so we don't use up too much capacitor with our afterburner. See, using our afterburner at the same time as everything else brought us down into the 70s in capacitor usage. It's coming back a little bit now that I turned off the gun. So again, one thing you need to keep in mind is your capacitor usage. If I start running out of capacitor completely, I can't use my modules. Alright, well that was a little less successful than I hoped. Now the mission didn't specifically say to destroy all enemies. It said to pick up the item. And I noticed that there's a cargo container here. So I'm wondering if we can fly to that cargo container without getting destroyed by these enemies. Let's go ahead and get all of our armor back to maximum, because we're down to about half of our structure. And we'll go ahead and turn off our afterburner for just a moment. They're still trying to shoot at me, but from 40 kilometers away, they're not going to be able to do much damage. Alright, I'm going to fly up in this direction. And I'm going to try to skirt around them and pick up the item that was actually the focus of our mission. As you notice, I'm reactivating the afterburner so we can try to get through them fast. And I'm keeping these modules going so that if they do shoot at us, any damage they do can hopefully be repaired before it gets down too far. Alright, I'm going to start heading directly for the cargo container now. I'm going to go ahead and take a pot shot at this guy as we move past him. I'll do my best to do some damage to him, hopefully, and hopefully not take too much in return. We got to keep an eye on our capacitor here, see that it doesn't go too low. With our afterburner going, he'll quickly be back out of range, but at least we will have done some damage to him. Alright, he's already too far out of range for us to hit, so I'm going to turn my guns back off. The cargo container is still 30 kilometers out, far too far away for us to loot. Usually it has to be, remember, within about 2,000 meters. Luckily, we're moving very far out of range, and these enemies aren't going to be able to catch us now. Alright, we're coming in close. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the afterburner. And I'm going to activate, I'm going to go ahead and say open cargo.
Be within range to execute this function.
So now the ship is on an automatic approach to the cargo. And here we go. Let's quickly loot all. And let's not stop here. Let's get out of here. Let's jump back to our destination.
Warp drive active.
Understanding when enemies are simply too strong to defeat is an important thing in EVE Online. You know, there's no shame in running away if you're going to be destroyed and not complete the mission. Unfortunately, those enemies were just simply beyond our ability to defeat. Our guns simply weren't strong enough. This civilian Gatling gun just wasn't up to the task. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my shield booster and turn off my armor repair. Remember what I said about capacitor. Even jumping into warp uses capacitor up. So if you're far too low on capacitor from using all your modules, you might not even be able to warp right away until you turn them off and let your capacitor recharge, and those few seconds could be the difference between life and death. You've always got to keep a close eye on your capacitor levels. Alright, well, we were able to defeat 4 enemies. 2 of them were just far too strong for us, but we got the item that we were contracted to get. So let's go ahead and click on our agent and let her know that we completed the mission. As you can see here, there are check marks by all of the mission parameters. So, complete mission. And we got 88,000 ISK for that. We got our main reward and our bonus reward, plus 53 loyalty points. Good work, my friend, she says. That's a basic mission from the security standpoint. You have to go somewhere, and you'll either be told to destroy all the enemies or to pick up some kind of item or something along those lines. Sometimes you might be told to destroy a structure. Sometimes, even if you're not told to destroy all the enemies, it can be to your benefit to do so. In our case, the enemies we destroyed didn't drop anything. I could see from the overview that those wrecks were empty, but a lot of times the wrecks that you destroy will have objects that you can loot, and that can give you a better item. Something you might want to, better items for your ship, or even something you can sell. This afterburner that I got, this is not a civilian afterburner. I picked that up off of an NPC enemy that I destroyed just the other day. Well, that's it for security missions. They're pretty much the basics of it. But there are of course, there are other kinds of missions. There are also mining missions. Now, if we want to do a mining mission, it makes sense that we get a ship that's a little bit more suited to that. But let's see if we can find a mining agent nearby. And I'll show you what that's all about. Alright, well, let's see. There's a mining agent here, only 3 jumps away. Let's go ahead and set that as our destination, and we'll head out there. So, we're heading out to the Dusevit system to go ahead and accept a mining mission from this character. Oh, did you just notice here on the left, we just got a little bit of extra credit? 19,000 more credits? That's because the ships we destroyed were NPC, those NPCs had bounties on them. A lot of the NPC characters that you attack, if they're supposedly pirates or enemies of whatever faction, will have bounties on them, and by killing them, you get a little extra bonus for killing them. That's the other advantage to killing all of the enemies in a mission. Even if the mission isn't telling you to kill the enemies, killing them gets you extra money in the form of bounties. So it's another way to make a little extra ISK there. So like I said, we're heading here to the Deducivite system to go ahead and meet with this agent. So I'm going to go ahead and jump through the next gate.
Warp drive active.
Now I can start a conversation with this agent from here. Now I can't always accept the mission remotely, but sometimes you can complete a mission remotely if all that you were asked to do was to destroy enemies. In our most recent mission, we had to bring an actual item back, so obviously we had to be back in the same station to complete the mission. However, if the mission is just calling for you to do something, to destroy a bunch of enemies, you can often talk to the agent without being in the same station as that agent. There's one brief thing I wanted to show you on our ship here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You notice these little circles on the side of the ship? Those are normally where guns would be. If you notice, I have a gun and I have a mining module in my high slots. Well, those are where the gun and mining module will be sticking out of the side of my ship. Now the reason they're not showing is I went ahead and reduced the graphics settings for my Eve client,
Warp drive
so that it would run a little bit more smoothly while I'm recording. The reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to make it clear to everyone that EVE Online is not a game that requires a computer that runs at the bleeding edge of the most up-to-date graphics cards or, CPUs. Older machines are more than capable of running EVE, and even doing so with pretty good graphics. I've reduced the graphics below a normal level because I'm doing recording, and that takes up a lot of my, unfortunately, a lot of my resources. But normally, the ship would be a little bit more detailed in its coloring. Like I said, there would be items sticking off of it, actual guns that change based on what kind of guns you have fit. But either way, like I said, don't let your computer scare you away from Eve if you have an older machine. Eve is more than playable and actually enjoyable even on older machines. Alright, here we are in the Deducivite system. And here on the right is a mining mission available to us. Now it says offered here because I already opened up this window once and closed it. It's letting us know that this mission's been offered. Let's take a look and see what's involved. As always, on the left side, there's some story information if you want to go ahead and learn more about the lore of the game and why this person needs this, from a role-playing standpoint. But here on the right are the basics. They want us to drop off 3,600 units of this mineral, augamine. That would be about 1,080 cubic meters worth of it. In other words, we're going to be mining all of the ore from a rare asteroid and returning it to this agent. Once again, we'll get following rewards, ISK and loyalty points, plus a bonus of more ISK if we complete it within an hour and 40 minutes. Now right away, you might notice, if you've been paying attention, that there's a problem. This mineral, we're going to need to pull in 1,080 cubic meters worth of this item. Let's bring up my ship's hold for a moment here. I'm going to hit Alt-C to bring up my inventory. Well, here in my cargo bay, I only have room for 135 cubic meters. That's not even close to enough. Now I could go out and get ore, bring it back to the station, go out and come back and forth. That would take forever. That would be really counterproductive. Well, there is a way around that. There are certain ships that are designed specifically to hold large amounts of ore, and those are called mining ships. So this is a perfect time to show you the market, because we're going to buy ourselves a mining ship. This here is the market. Now when you hit Alt-R, it brings up the market for your local region. A region in EVE Online is a very large area. Each system is part of a constellation, and groups of several constellations make up a region. We are currently in the Synclaison region, and this is the marketplace for that region. If I type in the term something we're looking for, in this case we're looking for a mining ship, and I have just the one in mind. It's called a venture. If I type in venture, it's going to give me a bunch of different items. In this case, we're looking for the ship venture. And here's all the ventures for sale within the Synclaison region. Also, people who are looking to buy them if we had one to sell ourselves. And we can sort that by price. In this case, the lowest price available is going to be 5 jumps away. I can also sort it by the number of jumps. If I say I don't want to go that far and I just want to get one locally, here we go, there's one in our system for 350,000 ISK. Now that's not the best price. Remember, the lowest price was around 250,000. But I'm willing to pay a little bit more for the convenience of having it close by. So, to buy an item, I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. It brings up the buy window. I'm looking to buy just one of them. It's letting me know that it's not in my current station. It's actually in another station in the system. And it's also letting me know that the price I'm paying is 40.51% above the regional average. There are lots of players who make their fortunes in EVE. All they do all day long is buy and sell items. They buy items low, they find out where they're offered for a cheap price, go there and buy them low, and they take them to places where the price is high and sell them. So they keep close eyes on the regional averages and they make sure to always get the best deal. In our case right now, we're looking more for the convenience of having it close by so we can buy it quickly and get on with our mission. But this is always something to be aware of, and the game will always warn you if you're paying significantly above the average. However, we're ready to go ahead and buy it, so let's go ahead and just click buy for 350,000 ISK. There we go. We've lost 350,000 ISK. We now have a venture. Let's go ahead and close the market window. And let's go ahead and let's go ahead and accept this mission. Now it's going to warn us. This mission involves objectives requiring a total capacity of 1,080 cargo units, but your active ship only has space for 135 more cargo units in its cargo hold. Accept anyway? Well, we have a ship waiting for us that will have enough, so we'll go ahead and say yes. But it is good that the game will warn you before you accept a mission for which you are incapable of doing it in terms of cargo capacity. Okay, we now have 1 hour, 39 minutes to complete this mission to get our bonus. Okay, we need to leave the station to go out and get that other ship. Remember, it's in another station in the same system. So how do I know where to find that ship? There are 5 different stations in this system. Well, the answer to that is to look up all of our items, all of our possessions by hitting the Alt-T key. That brings up all of our personal assets. And here, in the Dusavit system, I see that there is another station with 7 items in it. One of them is a venture. That's the one we're looking for. Let's go ahead and head for that system. I can right-click on it and dock with it.
Warp drive active.
If you're ever wondering where any of your items were that you might have left behind somewhere, or if you bought something and it's in another station or system and you forgot exactly where that was, maybe you don't have the route planned out yet, you didn't have your destination set, Alt-T is what will help you find it. Any station that you have items in is listed here, and you can always look at them by opening them up like this. It shows you where all your items are. But here we are. We're now at the station, and we're going to go ahead and pick up our venture.
Permission requested. Docking request accepted.
All right, here we are in the station. Let's go ahead and bring up our inventory by hitting Alt-C. Here in the ship hangar, I have my current ship, my Velator, and also a venture. Now, ships always come packaged. I have to open up the package by double-clicking on it. There we go. Now the ship has been assembled. Some assembly is required. To go ahead and switch us to my active ship, I'm going to double-click on it again. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take some of these items off of my current ship. Let's go ahead and bring the shield booster off just in case, as well as these armor helpful items, and the afterburner as well. Now, one thing I did between sessions, you didn't see me do this, but I did use the market to buy a better mining laser. This is not the civilian miner. This is called Miner 1. It's the first entry-level mining laser that's used for mining. We're going to go ahead and put that on our venture as well. And we'll leave the Gatling gun here for now. Let's go ahead and double-click on our venture, and now There it is. There's our ship there in the hangar. Let's go ahead and fit it with our items. Let's click on our item hangar. Now, some of these items, these are items that were given for free because currently EVE Online is running a holiday promotion where you get free items like skins or shirts for your characters. That's why Alpaca is currently wearing this t-shirt. Happy holidays, everyone! Anyway, let's get back to fitting here. So, I have a mining module. Let's go ahead and place that onto my ship. Let's also place this shield booster, the afterburner, and I only have one low slot, so let's go ahead and just grab the damage control unit and put that down there. Now notice that there are 3 high slots here that I could put items in. However, I can only put 2 mining modules, or 2 guns, or 1 of each. The way that I know that is here above the high slots. Do you see these little circles? These are my turret hardpoints. Certain items like guns and mining modules require a hardpoint to fit. Unless you have enough hardpoints, you can't fit any more objects. So as you can see, I can only fit 2 items requiring hardpoints. I could put a third item that needs a high slot that isn't a gun, or that isn't a mining module. But for now, we don't really have anything like that that'll fit there. Let's really quickly see if there's another miner one available nearby that I can add to the ship so we can mine that much faster. Let's search the market here. Well, here we go. Here's miner 1. Let's click on it. And there is one, but it's 1 jump away, and that seems a little far away for our taste. I'm going to go ahead and actually buy one, though. I can get this at 1.72% below the regional average. I'm going to purchase it so that it's there. If we decide we need it, we'll go ahead and get that. But for now, let's get on with our mission. Alright, we're back out in space, and again, on the left side, our agent mission is here in this little tab here. So, let's make it bigger, and we're going to head out to this mining location.
Warp drive active.
Now this is different than your normal asteroid belts that you mine, and this, again, just like with our combat mission before, this is a special location that was created when we accepted the mission. It isn't your typical location. Like if I click here on the mining tab of my overview, you see all these different asteroid belts. It's not one of those. This is just a unique location that usually only has 1 or 2 asteroids worth mining. That is just the one mineral that we're looking for in order to go ahead and complete our mission. So let me go ahead and click on mining, and we'll see if that asteroid's here. And there it is. The Augamine asteroids, 21 kilometers away. So let's go ahead and head for it. Now it looks like there's some sort of structure in the way, and we're about to probably bump up against that. So I'm going to actually head down in this direction by double-clicking in space. We're going to try to go around this thing here. Let's use the afterburners to get a little bit of speed. There we go. There's that asteroid, so let's head right towards it. And we'll go ahead and set ourselves in an orbit around it. Now, just like before, any module that that exists outside of our ship requires that we target it before we can do anything to it. So we've selected the asteroid. We're going to go ahead and hit target. And there we go. We're now targeting the asteroid, and I can activate my mining module. The mining module is glowing, and that's showing us that we are now mining minerals from the asteroid. Now again, as you may remember, I mentioned that I had reduced the graphics settings on my game in order to make it run more smoothly. Normally when you're mining an asteroid, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the asteroid using the C key here. There we go. Normally when we're mining an asteroid, you can see mining lasers arcing out of our ship, cutting into the asteroid and retrieving the precious minerals within it. Unfortunately, my graphics settings, like I said, have been reduced to make performance go a little bit better, and so you can't see that mining laser in this case. Those of you who play the game and have better graphics settings, though, can see some pretty impressive mining action going on right now, if you were doing this. Just think of what you're missing out on right now. Alright, if I hit Alt-C, once again that'll bring up our cargo bay here. And as you can see, none of that mineral that I've mined is in my cargo bay. That's because mining ships have their own special cargo bays just for ore. The ore hold. And as you can see, we've already mined almost 100 of it. 100 units, rather. 100 cubic meters of it. 322 units. So we're slowly but surely chipping away at this asteroid, and if you remember, I believe we had to get 1,080 cubic meters. So we're about 1/10 of the way there, maybe a little bit less. One of the things that makes the Venture a pretty nifty little ship is the fact that it also has a separate drone bay that allows you to put 1 or 2 drones, depending on the size of them, there. As you can see on the Venture, there's only room for, like we said, 2 turret hardpoints. So if you have 2 mining lasers, well, you don't have any room for guns. There's no way to defend yourself. Not true if you have drones. If you have a couple drones, then you can fight off NPC pirates who might be trying to attack you while you're busy mining out in those asteroid fields. Remember, mining isn't just for missions. In this case, we're mining and we're going to bring that ore back and get a reward for it. But those asteroid fields, if you notice, in this system, there's 7 of them. You can go out into those asteroid fields and find all kinds of asteroids with all kinds of different minerals. Mine them yourself, and you can bring those minerals back to the station. You can either sell the minerals yourself, make money that way, or you can refine the minerals into useful products, which can then be used to build things. There are all kinds of different ways to make money in EVE depending on what you're really interested in. Well, I've got about 289. This is going to take a few minutes to finish, so I'll be back with you once we've finished mining this asteroid. Alright, this is interesting. If you look on the overview, an NPC enemy appeared, and they've yellow boxed us. I'm going to go ahead and activate my shield booster while we're sitting here mining, but we're only a little bit over halfway done with our mining. This could be problematic. He's right over there coming in from that direction. I, unfortunately, did not put my civilian Gatling gun in that second turret position. I probably should have. I have no way to fight this guy. Let's see if I can withstand his onslaught long enough, if I can just tank his damage. If not, we'll have to flee and come back more heavily armed. Alright. He's now attacking. We've been red boxed. Let's keep an eye on our hit points while we continue to mine. Now, as you can see, as the mining module goes, you see this little white line slowly creeping its way up. Every time it goes around, the mining module completes a cycle and it deposits more ore. This one mines at a rate of about 97 cubic meters per 60 seconds. That's definitely an improvement from the civilian mining laser, which does somewhat less. It would do even better if we had 2 of them. We could double our output if we had 2 of them using both of our turret spots, both of our hard points. As it is, we're almost done, and if you notice, this Serpentis Initiate isn't doing a whole lot of damage to us. We can laugh off his damage. He's doing 2 damage at a time with every hit, which our shield booster is more than compensating for. And our capacitor is holding at right around 86-87%. So we're in good shape. We still want to keep an eye on our overview because, we don't know what else might appear. Now, if we were in a real asteroid belt, one of these out mining, there's one thing I would definitely be doing, and that would be having the directional scanner up constantly. I would have it set to 360 degrees, and I'd have it set to about 5 AU out. And I would just be constantly scanning, clicking on it every few seconds. And the moment I saw any sort of ship appear, I'd be out of here. And I would actually have Celestials ready on my overview, either a station or perhaps a planet from one of the warp 2s, ready to warp. I would usually be aligned to it and ready to go. However, this is a dead space where usually most characters aren't going to show up, especially in a system like this. We're not in a normal asteroid belt. This area isn't just accessible to anybody who looks for it on the overview to warp to. There are ways to find it. There are ways to find our ship for people who actually want to look for it. People who are really determined to cause harm. But I'm not going to worry about that too much right now, like I said. Right now, I'm much more concerned about NPC enemies, and in this case, it looks like this one's not really any threat to us. It's a shame we don't have the guns. We could kill him and maybe get a bounty, and maybe his ship would drop something useful. Either way, we are almost done mining this asteroid. We're about to complete another cycle on our mining turret here, on our mining laser. 1062. We're less than 20 units away, so once this completes in about 60 seconds, we'll be done. I'm going to go ahead and let the video keep playing here so you can see what happens when the asteroid is depleted. I'm actually going to turn off my shield booster to see. I want to see how much damage this guy actually does to us compared to our shield refresh rate. Yeah, he's very slowly chipping away at our shields. If you mouse over, you can actually watch the actual amounts as they go down and then slowly move back up and back down again. Over time, he'd eventually do enough damage to us, but we have a shield booster that can assist us. All right, the asteroid's depleted. In these types of mining missions, the asteroid always has just enough ore to fulfill your mission. No more, no less. In this case, we have exactly 1,080 cubic meters of ore, so we are done with our mission. So let's go ahead and close our cargo hold. Let's go ahead and set our destination for that station, and we're going to dock with it. And we'll ignore the Serpentis Initiate, who is trying to kill us in vain. All right, we're back in the station. Let's go ahead and quickly talk to this agent. As you can see, when it comes up, we have check marks on all of our requirements. Let's go ahead and complete the mission. We should get 34,000 plus an additional 49. Lo and behold, 83,000 ISK. Pretty good result for that mission. And another 49 loyalty points. That's a pretty good place to stop for today. So, we've gone ahead and seen the basics of missions, both combat and mining, and a little bit about how to use the market. In our next mission, I'll show you a little bit more about mining out in the real world, in the asteroid belts where things get a little bit more dangerous, and I'll show you a little bit more about how combat works in EVE Online. I'll see you then.